Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box. Good to be back with you, as we are every week. Tariq, Spence, how you doing, man?
Ready?
Congratulations, too, by the way.
Thank you for my 18-year-old graduated from high school. Great.
Father of the grad. You hardly look it, man.
And great, too. Picked a great school, so I'm happy. I can't complain about anything.
You can advertise it. What were
She graduated from Brighton going to SUNY Purchase, so I'm looking forward to that.
Very good. Congratulations. What do you got going?
I'm depressed that he has a kid graduating high school and looks 10 years younger than me. I'm depressed about that. That makes me sad.
Well, you're wearing a little something different this week.
Well, yeah, I mean, the NBA season's over. I got my Toon Squad Michael Jordan jersey on. All we have to do is watch basketball movies now all summer, right? To Space Jam 1 and 2, Fish That Saved Pittsburgh, Teen Wolf, Blue Chips, little, what?
I got to tell you, none of that's on my agenda.
You've seen Blue Chips?
I have not.
It's one of the greatest sports movies of all time.
You should have asked him about Hoosiers.
Oh, okay, it's like hack basketball. You know what? I'm not going to get deep into
But he's seen it. But he's seen it. And
everybody's seen it.
I know.
Hey, let's talk baseball. 1st to 50, the New York Yankees. You like them?
I do. I like them right now. They're healthy. Their pitching is unbelievable. I mean, Nestor Cortez has been unbelievable. Also, it's good to see the fact that they have their ace, Garrett Cole, playing a little bit better than last few seasons. I know it's been sort of questionable with him. But I tell you, Judge right now, you talk about taking a gamble on himself. My goodness, I mean, this could pay off way more than it was last season.
Arbitration, man.
I mean, but still, he's the number one vote getter. He's hitting the most home runs. He's playing out unbelievably right now. I mean, you go another 50 games like this is not going to look good for him.
What a concept. I don't want to get into that. Mid-season arbitration. But he's going to sit through an arbitration hearing while he's doing it this week.
And doesn't he look any better? How does he look any better than he does right now?
He seems like one of those guys where nothing mentally affects him, not because he's able to zone it out, but because his name is Aaron Judge. He's like the Gronkowski of baseball, right? Am I wrong there? Is that a pretty good?
Kind of close without the rings, but I think it's interesting the fact that Judge, who's always been injury plagued, seems pretty good. Now, I'm not wishing anything bad on him, but he's playing extremely well right now and could get this deal done before the end of the season.
I mean, you being a Boston fan, everyone else being a Yankee hater, unless you're a Yankee fan. How funny is it when the Yankees finally decide they're going to be frugal and spend smart, that they're not going to spend on a guy who actually they could have spent, not have to go empty the bank for, paid him what he deserved, and he may end up somewhere else, or they're going to have to pay out for
I respect your sources. You said last week you thought he was going to play elsewhere next year.
Yeah, I mean, my sources. I mean, yeah, look, I mean, he's played long enough in that market where I think he now transcends playing in Market 1, right? Wherever he goes, people are going to keep eyes on. And look, man, if we're talking about respect, especially when it comes to these athletes that are younger, why would you stay in New York? Like, you've been the show for the last couple of years. You got a manager who has no idea what he's doing. I'm on record as saying that, right? The best thing they did was put a 220-foot fence in that stadium, and he's going to get paid. He doesn't need to get the numbers anymore. If he wants to win, is New York the place to stay?
But it seems like you're making the case for New York.
Why am I? How so? What do you mean?
Where else would you rather be? I mean, he is so perfectly set up.
And with a team in the Mets that have a lot more money, with a lot more ownership, and looking for a home run guy that they don't have right now.
Can you imagine?
How great would that be? I mean, look, just from a drama standpoint, how amazing would it be if he stepped across the river and went and played as a Met? They would talk about that for decades. Look what happened with over the hill Doc Gooden when he did it. I mean, that was a major story. Now you've got arguably a top 5 best baseball player in the league doing it in his prime.
You know, look at the team. I think the hidden part of the Yankees is the defense. They've tightened up defensively. A lot of the same pieces are in place that have failed in the last few years, except defensively now they look like a major league team.
Well, that too, and they're a little bit healthy. I know they're dealing with a couple of different injuries on their in their relief staff, but they are healthy. They're playing a little bit better. I think what's interesting about this, they still play baseball. So when Judge doesn't hit, they're eking out doubles, singles. They're doing exactly what baseball loves to do. When Judge is hitting, it's over. So they're finding ways to do that, but defensively they're playing great. I mean, you can't really complain about anything.
You see them winning it?
I mean, look, is the team that's the best team not even at the All-Star break? Do they ever win the World Series? Right? Like, something's gonna happen, and it's not wishing ill on the Yankees, and I don't even think it's
which is okay here.
I mean, look, they keep talking about how they're ahead of the 1927 Yankees right now, but I haven't seen another statistic that showed me what other teams were ahead of the 1927 Yankees 50 games into the season.
And the thing is, before the 1970s, you know, it was like now there's tiered playoffs, and no matter how good you are, baseball being baseball, you're vulnerable.
Wire to wire in baseball, just never happens. I mean, it's very rare that this happens. You get a hot team that's out of nowhere, somewhere right after the All-Star break, goes into the fall and destroys everything. I don't know who that team is
The Atlanta
yet.
Braves last year, the Washington Nationals did it the year before.
100%. And let's look at it this way, man. At the All-Star break, what do the Yankees have that they can bring in? You don't want to pay Judge, but you're going to pay to bring people in to make that team better. And can you make that team better? What can you do to that team right now that makes them better? I would be afraid you are so good leading into the All-Star break. You decide to sit pat, or you screw with your chemistry, and somebody gets better, jumps over you because they have the ability to fill a hole that you don't have.
Yeah, they're not even filling holes at this point. I mean, when you're that far ahead, when the trade deadline comes up, they're going to be adding to strengths. I mean, they're in such a position right now.
And could
if it
adding-
doesn't happen this year, it's like...
And could adding mess up the chemistry?
That's what I mean,
whatever
yeah.
you've got going on right now, do you even want to mess with it with a trade?
We are the Rochester Press Box talking Buffalo Bills next. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here. Rochester Press Box, our Buffalo Bills segment, brought to you by Ralph Honda for 3 generations and celebrating 50 years as New York's first and oldest Honda dealer. Visit Ralph Honda today and find out how we do Honda right at ralphhonda.com. Not a lot happening. It struck me, I thought it was funny that the NFL Network is giving national coverage of the first 2 Bills preseason games, which puts them on national TV for the first 5 weeks of the season. Can they handle this?
I mean, come on. Can we get past this whole do the Bills play well in primetime? Look, as a diehard Bills fan forever and ever and ever, I understand the pensive primetime game thing, but we're past
you
it.
feed into this more than anybody. You
Hold on.
feed
What
this.
am I feeding? I'm feeding myself wings when I'm watching them in
Paranoia.
primetime. Okay, look.
You're the most paranoid fan of the Bills that I know right now. With them being so good.
There are things I am still paranoid about, and I feel like you calling me paranoid is jinxing them, so I'd appreciate you stopping that.
Everything we say against the Bills is jinxing them for crying
And
out
for
loud.
the Bills. But, no, I mean, look, Josh Allen, if anybody plays well in primetime in the NFL, Josh Allen's one of the best primetime performers of all time. I mean, even in a loss against Kansas City in that playoff game, he had arguably one of the greatest games in playoff history a week after he had the greatest game in NFL playoff history, right? Like, I can't think of a game, even in that loss to Houston, where he has not performed out of his mind in a primetime setting after year 1.
That was all before he exposed his golf game, though.
Well, also before, if you go back and look at that Tampa Bay game with him and Brady was amazing as well. So he does perform well in primetime, which is interesting. And isn't this what you want? Like, this is what you've been waiting for. A primetime team going in Buffalo, playing another quote-unquote primetime team. This is what you've been waiting for. I wanted to ask Duffy, though. I heard this comment from your head coach about your offense being light years ahead here. Does that concern you that your head coach is now praising your new offensive coordinator before they play the game?
Oh, no, I think that's all by design, right? Like, Sean McDermott's really good at playing subtle head games. I think you're trying to light a fire underneath the guys that are playing on the defense. You got a new player in Von Miller that's going to have a lot to say on that defensive line, and maybe one calling out where people are going. You got Tre'Davious White coming back from injury, who is motivated in that way as well. I don't think he really means that. It's his defense. It could also be a way of him playing the humility card, which he also loves to do, right? You're one of the best teams in the NFL going to the playoffs. Well, we got a lot of work to do, and week by week, and we got to figure out how to do it. I do a bad McDermott. But no, that doesn't concern me, Tariq. Come on.
Light
nobody does a
years
good
ahead. I mean, this
Come
team was in
on.
a championship game 2 years ago.
And it's the defense that kept them out of the AFC championship.
Oh, here we go.
I'm just saying, man.
Here we go. He praises the defense and slaps the
Well,
defense.
no. I love this defense. But let's be real. Josh Allen wasn't the reason they didn't play in the Super Bowl the year before, and they didn't make the AFC championship last year, right? The offense was the offense. Holy cow.
But he advocated for him.
Do you want to spend a minute talking about one of your favorite guys is Ryan Fitzpatrick getting a TV gig on Amazon?
I'll spend an hour talking about it. You know I love Fitzy. Here's my concern. We've only seen Fitzy in small doses, and I could watch Ryan Fitzpatrick for hours. Are the 10-second clips that he does going to translate to him doing legitimate analysis for an entire NFL football game, right? Because he is a little bit dry and sarcastic, which makes him brilliant. But like we saw when Dennis Miller did Monday Night Football, dry and sarcastic doesn't work well for a 3.5-hour football game.
I'm looking forward to it just for the fact that Drew Brees was not good at it, and the fact that perhaps he has a personality that relates to the audience in which this is going to be a broadcast to. So I'm looking for it. I'd like to try all the quarterbacks, for crying out loud. Let's see who actually makes this roster.
He certainly brings different things to it, though, because there's a combination of things like I see him shirtless in the crowd in Buffalo, Harvard education, and a long, productive gunslinger career.
I'm looking forward to it. I hope everybody else likes it too.
Here's the thing. I'm coming in with optimism as well, but likability is so fickle.
Yeah.
Like, you can't figure out why people like certain people and certain things. It drives everybody crazy, but yet it draws people.
And you got to hit it fast because
Yeah.
eventually, like John Madden we saw, it says they only remember what you did last.
Yep.
Pretty soon, Ryan Fitzpatrick isn't going to be a former quarterback. He's going to be that announcer doing Thursday night on Amazon.
Who would have ever thought Tony Romo would be this good at what he's doing?
Good call.
Yeah. Our Buffalo Bills segment brought to you by Ralph Honda. Like it or not, is next. Here's the Press Box Trivia question brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
Hey, your getaway guy with a family getaway that's nearby and it's cheap. And what a ride. Mike O'Brien, your getaway guy. It's on my latest podcast and then some at thegetawayguy.com.
Here's the Press Box Trivia answer brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
Are you facing criminal charges from a DWI and feel that you never imagined it could happen to you? Contact attorneys with years of experience as prosecutors and defenders. Contact Ganguly Brothers Law today for a free consultation. You can put your trust in us.
Welcome back, and thanks for joining us here in the Rochester Press Box. Our Like It or Not segment brought to you by Ganguly Brothers Law, attorneys with years of experience defending the accused. Don't go unprepared. Contact Ganguly Law today. Like it or not, Tariq, Rob Gronkowski is retiring again.
Love it. The fact that he's retiring, we'll see if he stays retired. I don't know if he'll come back halfway through the season, skip off camp, and then maybe team up with Brady again. But if he is done, I can't wait to see his acceptance speech at Canton. It's going to already be sold out. It will be sold out. The audience will be unbelievable. It will be wild. It will be fun. It will be uncomfortable, like Duffy's face right now. And he can't wait for it either, because that's the one of all the Canton speeches. You mean to tell me you can't wait for Rob Gronkowski's?
He's going to say some awful things.
Absolutely.
Awful things. And he's going to do this. Well, he's going to be everybody's grandpa. What did I say? What?
We're talking about Ryan Fitzpatrick and what a unique individual and skill. Gronkowski is the same kind of way. Profiling him past football, I have no idea what to make of this guy.
Look, I heard someone describe it the other day, someone that covered the Patriots in-house, is that nothing you see is an act, and that's what makes him charming. Which I guess is okay when he's not dropping flying elbows on your starting corner and giving a concussion because he made a good play. He could be a guy that nudges himself into an endorsement role or like an analyst role like he was doing after he retired the next night.
But who'd take him serious as an analyst?
But I don't think...
You'd be playing off his personality.
But I don't think you need to be serious. I don't think he needs to be... I think he needs to be Gronk, that guy that will say that
Yeah,
thing.
but what... He never spent any of his bonus money.
Okay, Bill... When they tell you that, it's not always the truth, right?
I think it's the truth.
You're going to tell me a guy...
I believe the mainstream media.
You're going to tell me a guy who offered tens of thousands of dollars to two people to have sex in front of him on his cruise. That's video of it. You can go Google it right now. Go Google it. That guy invested his money well?
I may be mistaken.
No, come on. Where you can't buy stock in that? That's going to go up?
Hey, like it or not, the NBA season is over. What do you make of the teams going forward?
So I learned something I didn't want to learn, right? Like I was hoping the Celtics or the Heat would be able to come out of the East and win the NBA championship because I wanted team basketball again. Full team, you need everybody basketball. The Warriors, holy cow. Like the way that they are able to adapt their team from season to season is amazing. But one thing showed up. The Celtics, as talented as they were, their bench scoring killed them in the final stretch of the finals there. If they weren't going to get two guys scoring in double figures off the bench, it wasn't going to happen. And Jason Tatum wilted, which he's a kid still. Give him a break, right?
Celtics did not have a number one. And I think this is going forward when it comes to when you pay for a number one, you need to know they're a number one. Tatum wasn't that guy. Great guy. He might be a number two. He could become, you're right, he still has years of development. But that was the moment. That was the time to be that guy. He wasn't. Curry was. Every guy who loves to shoot at the Y loves the fact that the Warriors won it again because it proves, just give me the ball, set screens for me, and I'm just going to shoot.
Yeah, because you're Steph Curry at the Y.
That's right.
You get your
That's
hair
right.
back.
I can get that hot. I know I can get that hot.
Like it or not, brought to you by Ganguly Brothers Law. Unfinished Business is next.
I cannot get that hot. The Press Box Stat of the Week is being brought to you by McArdle's Restaurant in Fairport. McArdle's is open 7 days a week with dining available indoors and out, takeout and delivery. Come home to McArdle's.
And now to Eichel. He floated one.
Unfinished Business is brought to you by Greg the Roofer. Greg will meet or beat any competitor's price and can finance you with 0 down. Call today or visit gregtheroofer.com. Better roof, better price. Better call Greg today.
Welcome back, and again, thanks for joining us here in the Rochester Press Box. Time for Unfinished Business, and Pat, as always, starts.
Kyrie Irving, what are you doing, man? Look, this is a warning story from Kyrie Irving, because Kyrie is wildly talented, and when he started coming up and speaking his mind initially, it was refreshing, right? We want honesty from our athletes, and I firmly believe that an honest athlete and a guy who's going to do what he wants to do is better than a guy that's going to toe the line and give you nothing. However, this week, Kyrie Irving is trying to play the Nets into giving him a long-term deal, saying that he's going to opt out of his contract maybe and go play somewhere else if they don't want to sign him long. Only problem is there's nowhere for him to go. Teams that can afford him, they're not contenders. He's going to have to take a ton of less money, maybe a mid-level exception at $10 million instead of $26 million in Los Angeles to go play with the Lakers and win a ring. By the way, you don't want to go play with LeBron James again after everything that happened in Cleveland, and would LeBron want to play with you again? This Nets experiment has been a disaster. By the way, smart bearded man said this when it happened initially, but nobody's counting that. If I'm if I'm Brooklyn, why do I want Kyrie back? If you run it back with this roster, are you better off next year than you were this season? What are you adding? Because you don't have a big three anymore. You got a big two that got swept by a team that couldn't muster more than 2 wins in the NBA championship. What do you see if you're Brooklyn that gives you confidence that this is the team that puts you over the top? Maybe it's time to rebuild. Go former Celtics big three, Deron Williams, get him the heck out of there. This time you got draft picks, at least more than you had. Kyrie might have blown it all up.
For Pittsburgh Steelers fans, you know what you have in Mike Tomlin. You have a solid guy who will give you solid answers. When he was approached as to whether or not Antonio Brown would come back as a Steeler to end his career, Tomlin said, y'all know that ain't gonna happen. That's very clear and undecisive on a rumor that could have swirled out of control. Tomlin is undeniably one of the best coaches to have, not only as the head coach of your team, Steelers know that, or as a person that will be able to destroy controversy or rumors as quickly as possible. He's a head coach that now will need to find his quarterback, but he's a head coach that you would want representing your organization.
By anyone's measure, Henry Aaron is one of the top 5 greatest baseball players ever. The career home run leader when he retired at age 42 in 1976. He hit 24 or more home runs for 19 consecutive seasons, which is still a record. He hit 40 when he was 39. But those are just numbers. How Henry got there is the real story. Aaron was born in the down by the base section of segregated Mobile, Alabama back in 1934. He was a self-taught ball player. He learned to bat by hitting bottle caps with sticks. He became a right-handed, cross-handed power hitter. Nobody ever thought to teach him the proper grip on the bat with his right hand on top. It wasn't remedied until years later in his second year as a professional. He left Mobile for the first time, his mother in tears at the train station, to play pro ball for the Negro League Indianapolis Clowns for $200 a month. Among the countless instances of racism Aaron encountered, one stood out. Playing for the Clowns in Washington, D.C., the sound of the kitchen staff smashing the dishes used by the black players at a restaurant, destroyed rather than being reused. Aaron was the last to play in both the Negro and the major leagues. His career skyrocketed upon his call up to the Milwaukee Braves in 1954. He eclipsed Babe Ruth's career home run mark in 1974, coming full circle. His mother, who had cried at the train station decades before, was there to witness it. You fast forward 48 years. You may have missed this. Lorenzo Cain was released, marking the end of a possible solid 10-year major league career. Cain is a universally respected man. He left the game with a dignity that he, like Aaron, learned the hard way. When he didn't face the same degree of overt racism, Cain was the product of a single-family upbringing in the poverty of the Deep South. His father died when Lorenzo was 4. He didn't play baseball till his second year in high school. He showed up for a tryout with borrowed equipment and dressed in a collared shirt. Cain went on to become a Major League All-Star, the 2014 ALCS Most Valuable Player, and won a World Series title with the Kansas City Royals. I met Hank Aaron once. This is the only autograph I ever asked for. I think I'd like to meet Lorenzo Cain someday. We could all use a little more perspective. That's our unfinished business, and that is our program. Gentlemen, as always, thank you very much.
Can't wait for whatever's left of Stanley Cup playoffs, my friend.
If you want to kill the Lightning, you have to shoot them, set them on fire, smash them. They will not die. The Lightning do not die.
Okay.
And on that note, we'll say goodbye. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again next week on the Rochester Press Box.